A few years back, I was in this kitchen watching my mom cook dinner. When it was time to make the salsa, she just grabbed ingredients, cooked them, put them in a blender, and the salsa was ready. At that point, I was learning how to cook myself. And for me, every time I had to do something, I had to follow a recipe. And when I compared the salsas, my own to hers, her salsas were always better. At that point, I started paying attention, and I realized that every time she makes salsa, she worked with what she had, and understood how each process of salsa making affected the end product. A few years back, I started taking this approach to salsa making, and this is what I learned so far. Number 1, picking your base. Tomatillos and tomatoes are great canvases to bring your salsas to life. They provide lots of volume with mild flavors. I do want to point out that using one of the two is not necessary to make a salsa, but surely really common. Because of how much water tomatoes provide, they work great to modulate how strong your other ingredients will taste. However, using a lot of tomato might make your salsa feel like it's watered down. For this reason, I recommend cooking some of the water out of these type of salsas. You can do so by cooking your tomatoes either before or after blending. For raw salsas, you can choose to chop your tomatoes instead of blending and pair them with strong flavors like onion and lime juice, just like pico de gallo. Tomatillos, on the other hand, are stronger in flavor. These are the basis for salsas verdes, although you can add red dried chiles to make it red. The flavor of tomatillos is strong and sour, so for this reason, you have to keep an eye on your ratio of tomatillos to other ingredients. An advantage of this type of salsas is that because of how acidic they are, you can add other ingredients like avocado pieces to it, and it will prevent it from oxidizing as fast. You can skip tomatoes and tomatillos by doing an emulsion with your blender. Introduce a neutral tasting oil while blending your ingredients. The water in them will emulsify with the oil and you will get a creamy salsa. Another way is to use lime juice, vinegar, or another acidic component mixed with an onion and your favorite chile for a salsa with a strong flavor. Number 2, choosing your cooking method. Not all salsas need cooking. However, you can always bring a variety to your existing salsa recipe by doing a combination of cooked and raw ingredients, by switching up your ingredients cooking method, or even by using different methods in the same salsa recipe. Now, there is no way I can cover all of the cooking methods in this video, because basically, you can cook with almost anything that radiates heat. But I will say, methods with higher temperatures like direct fire, broiling, using embers, will bring that char flavor to your salsa. For this reason, don't be afraid if your ingredients are a little burnt. In Mexico, we have a whole category for this type of salsas called salsas tatemadas. This is just a way of enhancing the flavor and presence of those ingredients. We can also cook our ingredients with lower temperatures or boiling water. In my experience, the salsas that are cooked like this are milder in flavor, which is not necessarily a bad thing if you want to make salsas for things like breakfast foods. Again, these don't have to be exclusive from one another. For example, you can toast your dry chiles before putting them in hot water for them to become soft, making them easier to blend. Which brings me to number 3, blending or mixing method. When it comes to blending, the sharper, faster, and more precise your blending method is, the more homogeneous your salsa will be, meaning the taste will be the same all the way through. The opposite is true. For example, grinding your salsa in a molcajete or using a food processor and leaving big chunks of certain ingredients will make every bite of your salsa be unique. This one comes at your own preference. Sometimes I will divide my ingredients and pick several methods for the same ingredients, resulting in salsas with similar flavors but different textures. Number 4, ingredients. For an easy and classic route, I will recommend the Holy Trinity of salsas, inspired by the colors of our flag, green, white, and red, chile, cebolla, y tomate. Other classic ingredients are garlic, cilantro, and dried chiles. You can stick with your regular salsas, but what is the fun in cooking if it's not trying new things? For example, you can fry your salsa in lard or other types of fat once blended. Cook some of the water out, then introducing more liquid with beer. Mixing coffee in, putting avocado, pineapple, cacao, or other fruits that will harmonize with the flavors of the salsa. Don't be afraid of introducing a new ingredient here and there. However, my biggest recommendation here will be to introduce your new ingredients on a small batch to see if it will work for a bigger one. Now, I know I've been talking a lot about this process without giving a single salsa recipe. For this reason, I'm leaving some of the recipes that I use in the description below. I will highly encourage you to tweak the ingredients in the salsa. Maybe put more or less and taste how the flavor of the salsa changes. I will love if you can let me know how it went for you and if you created a new salsa recipe that I should try. Nos vemos hasta la próxima.